and 4 easy tips for executive mums. Now, if you missed my last video, we did one on understanding plantar fasciitis and heel spurs, and in which we spoke about what are these two conditions and how they are related to each other, what are the kind of symptoms that would indicate that you have these conditions, and some risk factors as well that will predispose you to them. So, in today's video, we are going to address managing these two conditions, and I'm going to share with you 4 easy tips that you could do with whatever's available at home, really. You don't need any special equipments or any fancy gadgets for this. So, as an executive mom, when you're juggling your multiple responsibilities, you have foot pain, it can significantly hinder your daily activities. Now, this can be caused by these two common conditions, as I said, plantar fasciitis and heel spurs, and these can often coexist, though usually one can find either of these conditions on its own as well. So today let's just discuss these practical tips, some easy and practical tips that will help you to manage them. Now, before we get into the topic for today, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Swati. I'm an executive mom power coach. I help moms of younger kids who work in high stress executive jobs to manage their spinal and joint pain and nerve pain as well. So I do all of this without taking away a big chunk of your time because, hey, we're moms, we're busy people, right? So I just give you simple exercises, some easy lifestyle modification tips and tricks that have helped me in my own pain journey. So without taking more of your time from your busy day, let's get into 4 easy tips to manage plantar fasciitis and heel spurs. Now, what exactly are these conditions? Let me just give you a brief introduction to them. So, plantar fasciitis is basically an inflammation of the plantar fascia. Now, what is the plantar fascia? It is a thick band of fibrous tissue, or just a thickened layer that of fibrous tissues that runs from your heel of your foot, so slightly above where your heel is. Your calf muscle ends there. That's where your heel, that part of your heel there. The plantar fascia starts there and it runs along the sole of your foot all the way covering your toes. So, the basically the sole of the foot is covered by your plantar fascia. So whenever there's inflammation, the word itis, that is plantar fasciitis, the itis at the end, indicates that there is inflammation. So there is an inflammation in the plantar fascia, and that simply is known as plantar fasciitis. Now, of course, this can present as a very painful condition, so it's not as simple as it sounds. However, you can also get a condition known as heel spur, which is basically a bony protrusion or a bony growth that happens under the heel bone, and it is often visible on x-rays. Sometimes it's just an incidental finding, so you might have a heel spur, but it is not painful. So it is possible that you have a small heel spur and it is very, very painful. So sometimes we all have heel I mean we some most of us have heel spurs, but we don't even realize it. But when you do, this can present as a very sharp shooting pain, especially when you're bearing weight on your feet, or especially when you're bare feet. So it can also develop because of repetitive stress injuries like prolonged standing or excessive body weight, or introduction to a new, say, sports or dancing or excessive walking, etc. So these are the two conditions that we're going to address today. So the very first thing you want to do is you want to reduce the inflammation associated with these two conditions. So you can use a cold pack. Cold usually helps to reduce the inflammation in the area. You can take a bottle of water, a plastic bottle of water, fill it about more than three-fourths, pop it into your freezer. When you take it out, it'll act as a cold pack. The reason I'm telling you this particular hack is it works very well when you're sitting down. Just put that bottle under the sole of your feet and just roll it along the foot. And of course, you don't want to put too much pressure on your heel spur or the area that is painful in the plantar fasciitis. Usually around the heel and the inner arch of the foot is the one that is most painful in plantar fasciitis. But you want to just gently roll that bottle along, so it gives a very light massaging effect plus a cold pack. So it's like a two-in-one hack. Or you can just take a cold pack and apply that to the painful area, that's the sole of your foot, plus minus the heel. So depending on where your pain is. Now, cold, how does this work? How does a cold pack reduce inflammation? So very briefly, when you put a cold pack to an air, I mean, you apply a cold pack to an area, there is a slight reduction of blood flow to the area. Whatever inflammation is happening in, say, if it's your heel, so inflammation is basically swelling, pain, and a couple of other symptoms together are known as inflammation. So when there is a reduced blood flow to that area, that body is able to sort out the inflammation and get rid of the swelling and the extra fluid or the pain in that area before the extra rush of blood comes in, right? So that is a very, very simplified version of how this inflammation is lowered. Of course, it's much more complicated than that. If you don't understand any of that, remember cold helps to ease the inflammation. So when you have that achy pain, dull achy pain at the end of the day, this is applicable to any part of your body, be it back pain, neck pain, or joint pain. When you have a dull achy pain at the end of the day, you've had a lot of stresses build up on your joints. And in this case, on your foot or sole of your foot, you can try a cold pack, and that really helps. So, cold pack is one thing. The other thing is, usually, with these two conditions, with plantar fasciitis and heel spur, when you get out of bed in the mornings, or you've been sitting for a long period of time and then you are standing up, so say sit to stand, basically, whenever you're bearing weight on your feet after a period of inactivity or rest, that weight itself will tend to give you the sharp shooting pain or the dull achy pain in that plantar fascia or the heel area. So what you got to do is, before you get out of bed, try and do a few movements like pull your toes in towards you, away from you. So a bit of an ankle movement, and just move your toes around. So ankle toe movement is what they're called. So do some ankle toe movements just to get the circulation going and to sort of warm up your feet for that not excessive, sorry, but the extra load that you're going to be putting on it, because when you're lying down or sitting, you don't really put any body weight, like you don't put your full body weight when you're sitting. You don't do that with your feet. So when you're standing up, your body sort of you've got the circulation going, your body sort of knows there is some kind of a body weight coming. So that is very simple, but it helps a lot. So try doing that. So some foot mobility exercises would be helpful. Avoid barefoot walking, because when you have plantar fasciitis or heel spur, the moment you step on the ground, even I mean, some people can even feel it through carpets. I would recommend not to do that and step onto your slippers. So have your slippers right on besides your bed or your wherever you are sitting. To have your slippers or your shoes, especially the ones with the nice cushions, so that you don't step on the hard floor and you're not walking around bare feet, because that can aggravate your pain. The fourth and the last tip for you is, try and get some appropriate footwear apart from the soft cushion footwear that I was talking about. If you have flat feet, which is very common in people who have plantar fasciitis, it is one of the factors that predispose you to plantar fasciitis and heel spurs, especially plantar fasciitis. Try and get footwear with some odd support if you have flat feet, or you can go and get some orthotics. They can be custom made, you can buy them off the shelf, whatever works for you. So, and avoid high heel shoes. If you got to wear high heels for, say, there's some formal function or office wear, try and get those block heels so that you are not basically your feet are not pointing downwards, because what happens with this is your calf muscles tend to be in a shortened position. When your calf is in a shortened position, the calf muscle is attached to exactly where your plantar fascia is starting at the heel. So when that shortened calf muscle is put in a normal length, when you're not wearing your heels, say you're at home, you've taken your work shoes off, when those calf muscles are lengthened, then you will feel the tug on your plantar fascia or on that heel spur. So it is not a good idea to wear those pointy heels. So if possible, try not to. But if you can't avoid heels because of whatever reasons, or well, because you like wearing them, because sometimes we do, right? So then try and get those flat, those broad heels or the block heels. So another thing with your footwear is if your plantar fasciitis, if your heel spur is really bad and you have this constant pain in your heel, you can go to an orthotist and ask them to give you scooped out heels. So if there's a certain say a piece of footwear or sandals or shoes that you wear on a regular basis, so what they do is they scoop out the heel area. So it's like, for example, if you take a scoop ice cream scoop and you scoop out the heel part of your shoe, there will be a hollow there. So basically nothing is going to touch on that painful heel. So that can be done, but of course you need an orthotist to do that, because you will have to discuss it with them. But that's also a solution for people who have chronic heel spurs and they have chronic heel pain, or they have very, very sharp pain, so much so that affects the quality of their life and walking. So that is one solution for them. I have a couple more tips for you. However, the video is getting long. I'm mindful of the time. I will leave them in a blog, and in that blog, you will also find a link to my free community where I have done a training on simple solutions to manage your heel pain, which is specifically for plantar fasciitis and heel spur. And it is a free community, it's a free training. You have access to all the other trainings that I have in there once you join. So I will leave a link for, I will leave the link for the community in that blog, and you will find that blog in the description of this video. If you're watching me on Instagram, the link is in my bio. If you can't find it, please let me know and I'll message me. I will send it across to you. Alrighty, I hope that was useful for you. These are simple tips, but believe me, it works really well. So try them out, read the ones in the blog, and try those as well. Alrighty, I'll see you guys